housemates, thanks for listening to the Our House podcast. We've just opened our own YouTube channel, so please follow our journey and subscribe to Our 2Tube. The link is in the description. And now, today's show.
I'm Paul.
And thanks for tuning in.
Once again, we're back.
So,
I'm really excited today.
Yeah, we've got a great guest on today. So, do you know, like Paul and I, instead of sometimes sitting down and watching TV, like soaps and things like that, we sit down and we watch a lot of YouTube. And I know, like, when I tell people that, people go, "What do you mean you watch YouTube? That's, like, really weird." Because some people just don't get it. So
when I tell people I watch YouTube about bin day, I get really weird looks as well.
So we've invited one of our favourite YouTubers onto the show today, which is why Paul's so excited. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Robbie Knox.
Hello. I don't think I've ever been on a podcast with such elaborate intro music. Very exciting.
Oh, that's good to hear. So how are you? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I'm obviously in lockdown like everyone else, but It's not that different from my normal life, so works out quite well.
That's good to know. So as I mentioned, we're like kind of huge fans of YouTubers, and we've come across yourself. So in a nutshell, for someone that's never heard of you or seen your videos, how would you describe yourself and your content? I
sort of describe it as making videos to kill time before I die, basically. So it's got that sort of vibe, that sort of completely pointless vibe to it. Mundane stuff, really. I think without going to go too deep, I think there's quite a lot of pressure on young people that I didn't really have. I'm 43, where you've got to make your life look good for Instagram and all that, whereas everyone has to take the bins out, really. Almost everyone. You've got a butler who does it, and everyone's got to go to the supermarket and all this sort of stuff like that. So it's just doing those sort of things, a lot of it. It's just anything, really.
Something that I noticed during the first lockdown was genuinely how excited people get over putting the bins out. And I actually became one of them, because you're stuck in the house for so long, you've got to have something to look forward to.
What's your bin situation? Are you wheelie bins? Do you put them out the night before? Do you put them out in the morning?
Wheelie bins.
Wheelie bins. I usually put them out overnight, but I went rogue today. It's bin day today, and I put them out this morning. I took a chance.
You see, I've got, I think I've got a more extreme bin day than most, because we have black bags like it's the 80s.
Wow.
Which is, you say...
That was probably the best time, though.
Yeah,
well, people think it's bad, but you get to put out unlimited bins.
Yeah, that's great, because our bin's tiny.
Yeah, just after Christmas, it's great. But what it means is you can't put them out the night before because foxes, so you have to put them out in the morning.
So where do you store them until then, though?
We have a plastic... I don't know what you'd call it. I think it's like a storage thing, but we bought it specifically for bins. And a mouse now lives in it and ransacks the bins. But we've got like a plastic sort of halfway house base camp for the bins. And then they climb the bin summit at the end of the drive to be collected. This morning, in fact, Wednesday is a bin day.
My favourite part of bin day is viewing it through the Ring camera. So we have neighbours that are quite into their bin situation, and I have endless amount of fun. I don't know if this is lockdown that's just done this to me, but endless amount of fun of just watching how long it takes them to sort out their bins.
What are they doing? Like just
it's the recycling side, but it's the amount of time it takes, and then they start bringing other people's bins in, and maybe sometimes they've put ours out, haven't they?
Yeah.
But it's that whole. You're watching somebody in their own environment.
Yeah, I like this. Proper Rear Window vibes, isn't it?
Honestly, yeah. And they're like wondering, should I do that? I'm not. And you can see that thought process going on. And I mean, I'm a bit sad like that, so I will download that Ring video and put like, do you remember Tony Hart's Heartbeat. I'll put the gallery music behind it, and then rewatch it, and it's brilliant. I think lockdown has got to me a little bit.
That's fine. No one's judging. We're all friends here. We're all housemates.
You've just invented another YouTube there.
I might get copyright strike for that. Okay, so if we're looking at, I've just got messages going off left, right, and centre, and we're not even live. It's ridiculous. Robbie, if you were writing your CV for a brand new job, how would your personal profile read?
Oh, now I don't know a lot about CVs because I genuinely don't think I've written a CV this millennium. I don't think have I. I'm not sure. I certainly haven't been for a job interview since 1999 because I worked at Soccer and then we went from there. I was there for 7 years. Then we went to this internet TV thing. But we all just went together. We didn't have to apply for a job or anything. And then got made redundant, so I started my own business. I've not really had a CV. But this is a bit like your sort of personal statement sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I'd go heavily into the bit where people when people say, "Oh, my biggest problem is I care too much." I think I'd go heavy on those sort of things. Like I'm too good at timekeeping. I'd probably do those. Yeah, I'm too generous.
Very prompt this evening.
I always think of. Do you remember Spud in Trainspotting? Where it's like, I'm a perfectionist. That was his weakness.
Yeah, so I'd probably go heavy on the fake problems. Like, sometimes I'm just too well dressed.
What about skills that you might have? So, what skills would you put on your CV?
What's Robbie bringing to the table?
What's Robbie bringing to the? I might apply for a job here. I might have called the wrong number. It's like that bloke who went on BBC News who just turned up.
Just stick you on in front of the nation, you know.
What skills am I bringing? I mean, it depends massively on the job. In general, I can ski a bit. I have a positive attitude. No real. I can edit videos quite well. I can tell stories. Storytelling is my best skill. I think. I'm good at telling stories.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that gives a good overview of kind of you as a person, I guess.
Yeah, I think the skiing part would sell me.
Wouldn't or would?
No, it would. It would sell me. Yeah, I've definitely fallen down headfirst a black ski slope.
Have you skied much?
No, not really. Not since then. Yeah, I went to. We've been to that indoor thing at the Trafford Centre, haven't we? I remember going to the to Pamparovo in
Bulgaria.
Bulgaria. We had this instructor. I think it was in 2000, so that's how long ago that was. I just seem to remember he wasn't really doing anything. He just kept sort of like walking up behind you, and he just sort of seemed to bend over and push his head towards your anus. And
okay.
I know, yeah. And so we just sacked him off after the first day, and we just decided, there's a slope, let's strap the board on and just go. And that was quite a big mistake, as I found out.
It's great, Bulgaria. I went in January to Borovets skiing with my two older kids.
That's the other side, isn't it, of Pampero? You've got
I don't know any of the geography. I know it was just over an hour from Sofia Airport.
Yeah.
But I loved it.
Does it still feel like it's in that time zone of like the early 2000s?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, I went to Romania a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It must have been about 14 years ago, something like that. I think probably about 2006. I think it was. So I went there to a friend's wedding, and that was like amazing because we weren't going to. We spent a couple of days in Bucharest, but then we went to like this place, this random town where this girl Carmen, who we know is from, and it was proper sort of communist sort of madness. I went to this wedding. So my friend Dan's wedding, and he's marrying Carmen, this Romanian girl. And if you ever get the chance to go to a Romanian wedding, do it because they're just brilliant. It was like sort of panto. Like we went there, we were in the hotel in the sort of like the nice sort of hotel in Tagamuresh where we're staying, And Dan said that I don't know anything about Romanian weddings. I don't know what's going to happen. All I've been told is you all need to be in the hotel reception at 10 a.m. and don't ever walk in front of the godparents because it's bad luck and you ruin the wedding. So we went, all right, okay. So you don't know who that was. So I was sort of just stood outside because it's the summer. It was quite hot. I was trying to get some air. And I saw like these minibuses come up with all ribbons on and stuff. And these people who were the godparents who came out with these sashes over them came out holding like a bottle of spirits, like they were sort of parading around. And behind them out came this like 4-piece accordion band who started playing this meh, 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 meh music, sort of following them in. So they went in and we had to follow them. So we went, and it was like a comedy thing. They all this band went to the lift to press the button and they looked around. There's like 60 people following them. So they went, okay, we'll go up the stairs. Went there to Dan's room. They had to knock on Dan's door in the hotel. So he's in the hotel on his own. And then Dan opens the door and the godparents say, we're here to take you to your wedding. And he has to give everyone there a shot. So this is like 10 in the morning. We did this shot of this like Romanian firewater. I can't remember what it was called. It was pretty strong. And then, so we all go down, we get in the minibuses, following through the town. Got to these like communist tower blocks where like low rise sort of tower block type things. Where Carmen lived. And everyone's excited because they hang out the windows because they see her weddings going on. And then you go up, knock on the door, and Dan has to knock on the door, and everyone's following them. So there's like 70 people following behind up the steps of this flat. So it's rammed. And Dan has to knock on the door. And this is where it gets really weird. He knocks on the door, someone answers the door and went, hi, can I have Carmen? I'm going to marry her. And they go, yeah, just 1 second. And then they get the oldest woman in the village and they put a net curtain over her head and go, here you go, here's your bride. And Dan has to go, no, nice try. That's an old lady. I'll have the proper bride, please. And they go, all right, here you go, sort of thing like that. And then hand it over. So it's a bit like that. So I went off on a bit of a tangent there, but that's
I can see why it's like panto.
Yeah, well, it carries on like that. Then you go to the church, but you're not sort of sat down in the church. You just sort of stood at the front. It lasts about 20 minutes. And there's other people in the church just walking around chatting. There's like no respect for the wedding. And my housemate, Sally, at the time who I went with, she was going, I don't know whether this is, if we're going to Eastern Europe, I don't know whether it's going to be really proper conservative dress or really slutty. She said, so I'm going to go right down the middle. Right? And it turns out ours was fair normal. There was a really slutty wedding behind that I considered moving to. But so we carried on. We went to the reception, and then you get in there. They give you a shot when you arrive. You sit down, you have a course, food, then you get another shot, and then you have to get up and dance for 2 hours, and then they have another course, and then you get up and dance for a bit, do more shots, get up and dance. It's like food throughout the day. So you like have your starter, then another thing. So just constantly eating, drinking, and dancing. And then at some point, the bride gets kidnapped. This is another Romanian tradition.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, and then Dan has to negotiate to get him back, like ransom her back. So, but because Dan was drunk and didn't speak Romanian, he just sent this 10-year-old boy over to do the negotiating. And he negotiated to get her back for like a kiss from the bride, absolute lad, and also a crate of beer, which is weird because he was 10 and it was a free bar. So that's absolutely sent a child in. But apparently that's something that Romanian women discuss. They're like, what were you ransomed for? And it can be anything. It can be like, oh, to sing a karaoke song, and the groom had to sing a love song to him and all this sort of stuff. But it wasn't. So now she's got to live her life. People asking that to go, crate of beer and a kiss from a 10-year-old. Oh, and then at the end of the night, we went to a nightclub made entirely of PVC. There you go, at the end.
Okay, that's on my bucket list of things to attend to. But yeah, he didn't even negotiate. That's her story. She sent someone else to.
Yeah, exactly. Sent a boy in.
Great. So let's talk YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So is YouTube kind of your full-time job now? No.
So I run a video production company. I say no, in lockdown it kind of is. Lockdown 1 it was. No, I run a video production company, so that's really sort of my day job. But and because of that, there are times when I do lots of YouTube videos, and there are times when it's quite quiet, and that's generally because I'm busy with work. So I make money from YouTube, but not enough to live on currently.
Yeah.
So
it's just
yeah,
a nice little extra.
Yeah, it's getting more towards livable stuff. We'll see.
That's good. So how long has your company been going for?
Started it in 2009, I think, maybe, or 2010. 2010. So just over 10 years.
And is it kind of like corporate stuff, or?
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff for online sort of things. So I do stuff for EA Sports, Puma, Sky, Channel 4. Mostly sort of corporate thing. I can never remember. Lots of beer, Carling, Carlsberg, lots of people like that. It's not normally stuff.
That's why you can't remember.
Yeah, that'd be it. Yeah, old mood cider. Lots of those things. So a lot of stuff like that. Generally for online sort of stuff, and some sort of corporate-y, less glamorous praise and but less exciting to talk about.
And when did you decide that YouTube was kind of going to be your thing? When did you start the whole YouTube process?
Yeah, so I didn't really use YouTube at all. In that I used it to go, and if I needed to do something, I'd look up how to wire a plug or something, which is weird because I was around that sort of space. Like I filmed a lot of YouTubers for EA Sports and people like that, and playing FIFA with people. But I didn't really. I knew there were YouTubers because I was friends with Jack Mate, who's a very popular YouTuber, and so I knew it was a job. I knew it was a thing, but I guess I didn't really realize the variety of it. And I was talking to a guy called Will Brazier who works for Sport. We were at Watford's training ground doing some filming there, and he was saying, "Why don't you start a YouTube channel?" And I said, "Well, I'm at the time 40 or whatever. I don't think people were that interested in it. Sort of, I thought it was like a young person's thing." And he said to me, "I don't want to sound rude, but I know what it's like being an 18-year-old starting uni, because every September there's 700,000 vlogs telling me what it's like." He said, "I don't know what it's like being middle-aged," sort of thing. But okay, so I thought what I'll do is I'll do a video a week for 6 months and see how it goes. And I just did that, and it was relatively popular, and then became more popular after that. So yeah, it's just that.
And what sort of thing did you start with? Was it as simple as bin days? And
I think the very first video I did was saying how it's setting the stall out. I think it was called My Amazing Life, and it was because I have done some interesting things. Because when I worked at Soccer AM, we played football at Wembley Stadium. We've done went to Champions League finals and a lot of fun things. So I sort of said at the beginning, I say I'm going to treat you to a glimpse into my really exciting life, and then said I've done this before, I've done this, and then the first thing was, right, let's go to the tip, and it was just basically throwing out an old car seat and something else, and then going to the garden centre, and then so I think it was planting some potatoes. So early on, it was that sort of, it was straight away, it was that sort of playing down the excitement of things.
And were people watching that, or did it take some time for you to kind of build up your audience?
Yeah, so the first video got over 1,000 views, but it was shared by my friend Jack Mate, who's now got like over 1 million subscribers, sort of thing. So he sort of shared that, and then there was a sort of steady thing. And then most videos would get around 400 views at least, and then generally after a little while, some would go over 1,000, and that's quite exciting. And then about October, about a year ago, Jack put me in a video of a tier list video where he did took all YouTubers and put ranked 20.
That.
Yeah, and he put me in that one there where he put in the God tier. It was me and KSI in it, and then I went in a few days, within the space of a week, I went from having 6,000 subscribers to I think 60,000. So yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, but I think it was. I mean, he had mentioned me before in the others. I think it helped that I'd had quite a lot of videos already done, because then people could turn up and then they could binge hours of videos. If they
go back and look at what you've been producing.
Yeah, so I think it would have. I think it's better. Some people would talk to me and say, "What? I've not had much success or something like that. Can you give me some tips?" I look and they've done about 5 videos. I think you're better off to have a boost once you've got a sort of back catalogue that people can get stuck into, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you mentioned the tier thing there. If you could put anyone in your God tier of YouTubers, who would you choose?
Oh, there's loads. Who do I really?
You're not
I think
allowed to put Jack in there, though.
No, I'll leave him out. Stephen Tries, I think, is brilliant.
Oh, I love it.
I think he's so funny. He's from up your way, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's really good. From America, I think Casey Neistat is probably the best, in my opinion. I think the way he tells stories is unbelievable, and just every time I watch one of his videos, I learn something, or I just little things. Like there's a video he did recently where he's just doing a little road trip, and he leaves and he's driving out the car park, and you look at it, and there's a shot where he's getting in the car, then there's a shot from behind the car, it's reversing, there's a drone shot overhead which is going around, and it's like 5 things. You think about it, you go, he's driven in and out of that parking space 5 times for that for 2 or 3 seconds action sort of thing, and it's that sort of attention to detail and the way he sort of constructs stories. I'm quite into the sort of story structure and narratives and all things like that. So he's great. And should I pick one more? Who else is brilliant? That's quite. I really enjoy Elbat. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's I don't know where she's from. She's at uni in Bath now. And I don't think I'm the target audience. She did a video on menstrual cups recently, and then another one on period pants or something like that. And now I just get my YouTube just full of it going, hey, do you want to watch some more videos about periods? Not really. I just watched that YouTube. I think she's really good. There's quite a lot. So let's go with those 3 for now.
Great. And do you want to be controversial and say who would be at the bottom of the tier?
The thing is, I mean, this isn't me just saying that. I don't really know many YouTubers, and I don't watch ones that I don't. I just wouldn't know because I don't see them.
Do you ever get pulled down the rabbit hole of YouTube?
Yeah,
because I find I'm a victim of that.
Yeah, right. Recently, there's that thing about Jeremy Lynch at the Wembley Cup. That was a news story or something that came up, and it happened 2 years before. And I end up watching weird videos. Sometimes I get involved in something like YouTube drama. These people I've never heard of have done something, and I go, "Oh, what's going on?" Yeah. So yeah. No, I do definitely.
And what's the most popular video on your channel at the moment?
I think I'm pretty certain it's a video about tubes who I work with at Soccer AM having a heart attack. I think that's about 400,000 views at the minute. And then there's another one that's not as popular, but I did an interview last Christmas before the darts with Michael van Gerwen, the darts player, and asked him about his bin day, and that does well. But the good thing about that is whenever he's at a tournament, that gets loads of views, and I make a little bit of money. so like you did a talk the other week, I made like 40 quid or something. So I go, oh yes. So I'm sort of like invested in this bloke's career now. Like the World Championship coming up, I'm going, well, that's got to be like 70 quid or something like that. And if he goes on to win it, that's great news. So we'll be very much supporting him on that. Yeah.
And you mentioned that you're friends with Jack Mate. Was that so? What's your association with him? How did you kind of hook up with him?
It's a really long story. I'll give you the fairly condensed one. But essentially, 1 year before Christmas, I'd done all my shopping beforehand online. But because we got invited somewhere, I had to go to Sainsbury's 2 days before Christmas, and it was the most. You're wondering how this is going to get around to it here, aren't you? It was the most horrific experience ever. The queues,
totally locked in.
Good. All right, good. The queues were enormous. There was hardly anything on the shelves. What was there was rubbish. It was more expensive than normal. Like there were carrots that just tasted nothing. I was like, how can you mess up carrots? How can you not get tasty carrots? Something like that. And everything about it was horrible. And I thought, do you know what? There's got to be a better way to do this. And I didn't mention it to anyone apart from my wife. I just didn't go to a supermarket for 6 months. And then I, at the end of it, I wasn't going to, but I just thought, I'll put something on Facebook, just talking about it, saying these are the things I've learned in 6 months not going to the supermarket. A few people sort of picked up on it, including a friend who worked for the Huffington Post. And I was on a few local radio stations and that, and there's a thing, one of the papers and stuff. But a friend who worked at the Huffington Post said, can you write a blog about it? So I went, yeah, sure. So I wrote a little blog for her, and it got published. And I think I then wrote a second blog for them. I can't remember what it was about. And then they said to me, they phoned me up and said, look, we've got some of this brand deal thing with Amoy, the Chinese cooking thing. There's going to be a team of comedians, a team of YouTubers, and a team of bloggers. Now, I'd only ever written 2 blogs But I was on this blogger thing. I was going, I don't think I should be representing the world of bloggers. But so, well, you get paid. I went, all right, fine. And if you win, you can win a holiday. So it was me and this 25-year-old girl who was like a food blogger type person. And Jack and this other girl called Helen Anderson were on the YouTuber team. And that's how I met him through there. That's as short as I can get that story.
Did you win? I think you won.
Yeah, I won. Me and this Victoria girl won. And we went, oh, that's great, we're on holiday. And then suddenly I thought, when they said, because I didn't really consider that we'd win, but then we did win. I was thinking, oh, that's great. And I thought, hang on, are they going to expect me to go on holiday with this girl? Because like I was married with one kid at the time. Something I think it's going to be a very tough sell to my wife. So I'm just going to go on holiday with this 25-year-old blonde girl for a couple of weeks. See you in a bit. Enjoy the school run. But no, in the end, they just said, do you want to put the holiday or do you want the money? I went, the money, please.
Yeah. Excellent, like it.
Nice. And you mentioned obviously you've got a family as well. I saw a video recently where you were kind of unboxing stuff with your son.
Yeah.
He's a natural.
Yeah, he's good.
Have you trained him, or is he just just that?
No, he just. I mean, they watch YouTube and that, but he just. So I think because he watches YouTube, he's normally been the more shy one for being in things. My daughter sort of just doesn't care. My youngest son, Arlo, is 3, and so everything's exciting. But Otto's been sort of less keen, but I think he's got more into it. But yeah, no, he was good in that. And he's sort of he's become quite confident. I think we had parents' evening yesterday, and the teacher said that he hadn't been doing too well in his maths or something. He'd been not, he said he found it easy, but he hadn't been. So he came over to talk to me. And she said, I thought that was really good that he's come over to talk about this. He said, yeah, maths. He goes, the problem is you take too long to explain things and I just get bored. I go, wow. Turn it on the table. Teachers at 6. That's impressive. So, yeah, but no, he's great. He's lovely.
Well, we've got a 2-year-old, and even at 2, she watches YouTube. And not all the time. I'm not really a bad parent. I'm not like one of those.
No, hey, we're not judging. We'll call upon the electric babysitter from time to time.
But there is always because all the super mums online that think they know everything say that maybe YouTube's a bad influence because kids do expect that kind of that attention immediately, so that they do quite easily get bored. If someone's taking too long to do something, the ability to just go online, click it, and kind of have that, content there is affecting the way that they're going to perceive things when they grow up a little bit. Yeah. What do you think about that sort of kind of perception of it?
I think everything's in balance and all this, and I think it's. I think you've also got to have time for the kids to get bored as well and do other things. So there's plenty of time, and there's times we'll go out for days and they won't have any tablets and things. They're absolutely fine. I think it's all a balance thing. If you jump in front of YouTube for their entire childhood, they're probably not going to. No, I think it's all balance, isn't it? If you give them the right tools to handle themselves, they'll be fine.
That's it as well. She does watch it kind of. It is a case of every now and again when you just need to stop her asking why every 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I know a friend's sibling who had. Who didn't let them watch TV. They didn't have any of that sort of stuff, and they ended up having to go to a child psychologist because it was that far the other way sort of thing. So I think there's a sort of balance, isn't it?
I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's I know Jessica watches a lot of educational stuff, but she'll dip different languages, the same video but in different languages, and then. So there's a good element of learning behind it.
And I think there's a natural sort of thing for people to fear new stuff as well. Like I guarantee when the radio came out, everyone was going... So I guarantee when chess came out, people were saying, the kids playing chess all the time. Now it's everyone's dream for their kids to start playing chess.
I remember in the 80s, there was in America, the condition was it Nintenderitis because you were using you were using the Nintendo pad and it caused wrist issues.
I've seen articles about when the kaleidoscope was invented. There's real articles when the kaleidoscope was invented. People saying about this craze and how it was going to ruin kids because they spend all their time just looking at kaleidoscopes. Now there are no parents now worry about their kids' kaleidoscope usage. So I don't know. You've just got to be sensible and balanced with whatever.
Yeah,
absolutely. She had her own, well, she's got her own YouTube channel. So like we did like cooking and things like that, and she was like dead into it for ages, and then she's kind of gone off it a little bit now. So I'm not going to push it.
That's the thing, they do that a bit, don't they?
Yeah, but that's fine because she can make her own decisions and that's it.
Yeah. Sometimes she wants to go back into it, and then you put the camera in front of it, and like, I don't want to do that today. Okay.
Yeah.
So, in terms of other YouTube videos, so you're working on an IPA right now, is that right?
Yeah. So I started brewing beer during lockdown 1, and I brewed 2 batches of beer. I brewed one that was just in a sort of like kit thing for 50 quid, where you get a big glass jug and you make beer. And I was amazed that it wasn't disgusting. Like, in that, I get that beer is made of malt, yeast, water, and hops, but I didn't think I could make that in my kitchen. And if I did, I didn't, because my memory of homebrewed beer was like kits people bought from Boots in like the 90s or something like that, where people's dads
the
smelled
cheap stuff
disgusting.
you get at Christmas and stuff.
Yeah. So I didn't realize you could make good beer. And so tonight I just opened earlier on. I was on Instagram. I just did a little live thing where I brewed this porter, and it's genuinely, and I don't drink a huge amount of porters, but it was genuinely the nicest porter I've ever had. It's absolutely lovely, and it's not my recipe. I've just got a recipe online and made it, but it's lovely, really chocolatey, beautiful. So the first 2 IPAs I did, one was from that kit. Another one was a recipe that I've found, a recipe kit that I bought online, but with bigger equipment. And this one I bottled this morning is the first one that's my own recipe that I've completely made up. So we'll see how that goes.
It's amazing that. I like that. You sort of come up with like new ideas for hobbies. Like, I think when lockdown started, I learned how to Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Never been able to do it in my life before, and honestly thought I never would.
Is it hard to learn?
It's not. It was like, I think the first time it took me a week to solve my first one.
Yeah.
And now I can do them in about 4 or 5 minutes or something like that. Never going to be anything like the world record holders at like 3.5 seconds or something ridiculous. But and then I was watching.
Tell you what, though, if you were back in 1985, though, you would be the most amazing kid in the classroom.
Well, that was what I was looking at your videos of the IPA, and I was like, that's, to be fair, like when you're in lockdown, I mean, all I've done for the whole element besides working is buying things off Amazon and trying different things. And it was like, I was looking at the IPA one, I was like, I kind of fancy that. It looks really complicated. But then I thought that about the Rubik's Cube, and it was like, you should just do it. It's
not that complicated. Once you get your head around it, it's not that complicated. The first time, anything's a bit difficult. But really, essentially, all you're doing is you're getting some malted barley and you're mixing it with hot water, and then you're rinsing it with more hot water to get more of the sugars out. And then you're boiling that hot water for a bit and adding some hops, and then you're just letting it cool down, adding some yeast and putting it away for 2 weeks. There's not that much to it. I mean, but what I like about it is it's so simple. Like, unless you get things that are great fruit infused and stuff, people are adding fruit and stuff. Yeah. Generally, it's 4 ingredients and one of them's water. But then there's infinite different little combinations of how you do it and how you can change things and to get things to the point that, I mean, even now I'm just now starting to look at changing a water profile, because like if you're brewing a beer from like a German style beer, you might want German style water, which would have a different amounts of elements and stuff in it, sort of thing. So, and as it's the biggest ingredient, so you can get into it as much as you want. You can just buy a little kit, have a little bit of fun, or you can sort of properly get into it and experiment, which was
we've got a distiller, so we could distill the water and then add whatever you wanted in afterwards if you wanted.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I've downloaded a water report from Thames Water, but I can't quite understand it. But I need to work out exactly my minerals and all this sort of stuff in it, and then you can sort of make adjustments if you want, or you can just keep it simple, which is probably what I do. But things like the hops, they're such different things, and you can just look at books and stuff like that, and it tells you this one's got this sort of flavour. Like this one I've brewed, I bottled this morning. It's the first time I've really properly smelt it, and it's got this sort of fairly newish hop called Sabro, because new hops come out, like they're being released, sort of thing, which I find weird. But this one's it's got like sort of coconutty, like tropical sort of taste to it.
I saw your Instagram story.
It's like lilt. It's amazing. Yeah. I once, when I was first moved to London about 2000, I was in this bar called Cheapskates. It was a night called Cheapskates, and it was 60p a drink. Like you could have like beer, wine, or spirits. It wasn't your brand name spirits.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I was on £10,000 a year at the time, like in my first job. And I was going, this is amazing. It's the only time I could feel like I'm Puff Daddy or something. And I remember just chatting to some bloke at the bar. I was just chatting to him, and I said, "Oh, what are you drinking there?" He said, "It's my own drink." I said, "What is it?" He goes, "It's lager and lilt." I said, "All right, and what's it called?" And he said, "I call it an Aswad Shandy." And I just thought that's the best drink name ever. So yeah, maybe I can collaborate with Aswad to bring out an Aswad Shandy at some point.
Do you think Cheapskates were the only bar that served that drink?
Oh yeah. I mean, it wasn't even Cheapskates was the Wednesday night, and I think there were other nights in this bar that were more expensive. But no, I don't think much more expensive. But it was in the middle of Soho. It was a really great night. But yeah, you could just go. I just go to the bar. You drop like £6, and it was like you bought like 10 drinks. It was like you were Craig David. Yeah.
Before Craig David, obviously.
Yeah. Early days. Yeah.
And what's your beer called?
So the main one is that Bin Day IPA, and then I did the porter is a darker beer, so I called it Black Bin Bag.
Nice.
That's brilliant. I love that. Honestly.
Have you seen, like, this is just going off topic a little bit, but have you seen like Brewdog have done like an Aldi version? So like Aldi did a version of Brewdog. So Brewdog did one back called Aldi.
Really?
Yeah. So a bit of brand wars there, which I thought was quite cool.
Yeah, now they're stocking it in Aldi, aren't they?
Yeah. So yeah, great publicity.
I think Robbie's kind of the same age as us. Yeah. You mentioned before, he was about 43. So you would have been, I suppose, like when you were doing all your Soccer AM stuff, when me and Claire were doing, I don't know, media type jobs, it was all like kind of work for free here in a post-production house. Oh, yeah. And we'll, that type of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, we just made a lot of tea.
I made a lot of tea. It sounded like you got a little bit of a better end of the deal, but
I did a lot of tea. I did a year of tea making.
I bet you made really good tea.
I was a runner in a TV studio, where they made like 15 to 1, and what was the other one? The Weakest Link was there for a bit, and the first series of that, and a few other things like that. So yeah, I did that for a year, but that was basically just making tea and doing that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, my earliest memories were working in a post-production house. Just so, and you ended up working at that same post-production place, didn't you? We were
before we met. We kind of crossed paths.
It's really weird how them sort of things cross, isn't it? But just remember walking around with a cake trolley.
Yeah,
going into editors. Would you like some cake?
There's a photo of me. We talk about weird meetings. There's a photo of me. Because I met my wife through my former next door neighbour, Arthi Ramu. She went to uni with my now wife, and we'd been at a party at Arthi's house, and there's a photo of me. I'd never met her at this stage. There's a photo of me sat on the sofa, and my wife's arm, she sat next to me, but I didn't speak to her or anything. You can see her arm. So we were sat next to each other years before we met.
That's really weird, because we have a similar story, don't we? Like, I used to one of my best friends at the time was in a band, and his girlfriend, who we used to stay at her house all the time. Like, so we go to like a hacienda or something weird like that, and just crash over for the night. You lived in that house at the same time.
I was housemates with this girl who was the girlfriend of your friend. So Paul had been round to my house, but we
slept in the front room.
Yeah, and slept in the front room, but we'd never actually really met.
Wow.
Until about 5 years later.
Yeah, until later. That's that. Yeah. So it's strange. I think like the world works in them ways, really.
Don't you think? I always think it'd be good if you had like, and they probably do have this. I mean, Google certainly has this knowledge of us. But if you could download a map of everywhere you'd ever been, and someone else could download theirs. and then you can match it up and go, oh, we were within 5 meters of each other 9 years ago before we ever met.
It's really weird.
That probably would have happened a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
And so yeah, you've gone from being a runner to you are P Diddy now, right? Because you've got your own sponsors on your channel.
Yeah.
When's the boat money coming in?
You're giving stuff away,
Norfolk
aren't you?
Broads.
So you're like giving stuff away on your channel. Tell us a little bit. How did that come about?
What was this? Was this the watch giving away thing?
Yeah, I love it.
So that's literally just a brand thing. With there's an app called Bigo Live that is the most popular streaming app in Thailand, and they're trying to come over here. So they basically just paid me to do a brand thing there and give away a watch on it. I'm not just buying watches and giving them away. I'm definitely not Puff Daddy, but yeah, that's basically essentially what that is. So I'm doing a little bit of streaming this month on Bigo Live.
What is Bigo Live? I've never heard of it.
It's an app. No, I don't think it's not popular here at all. It's a streaming app sort of thing. There's a lot going on it. There's lots of lots of little emojis flying around all this. But as I say, it's quite big out in the sort of Far East
type of thing.
Is it like what? Sorry,
TikTok or something.
I think it's all about live streaming. So it's people just broadcasting their lives and just sitting there and chatting to people. But I think it's sort of. I'm guessing that they've had a little look and gone, well, like TikTok's done well. Maybe this will do well as well, and they're trying to break into the market over here, I guess.
Yeah, and apart from that, are you on any other platforms? Are you on TikTok? And I know you're on Instagram.
I do a little bit of TikTok occasionally. My brother's TikTok famous. My brother's got 500,000 followers on TikTok, and he only started in January. He does Knox Study. He's called. He does English. I told him to get on it because I thought it would work really well. English lessons or tips, so like the difference between there and there, or something like that, and or these or like tips for academic writing. And he's got videos with millions of views on this sort of thing, 500,000 sort of followers on it. So it's mad, yeah. I do a little bit of that. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I'm doing Twitch for the first time properly on Friday. I dabble.
Yeah. So what I'll do then is anyone that's listening to this podcast now, if you scroll down, I'll put it all in the description so that we've got the links to everything that you've got.
So what's the Twitch going to be? Are you going to game on that, or is it?
Yeah, I'm going to play. Are you familiar with the game Football Manager? Yes. I'm going to play that, but the way I play Football Manager is the most miserable way. Very on brand. What I do is I like it to be as realistic as possible. And I don't want to just start off as a Premier League team. So what I'll do is I will start off with no coaching qualifications, my real age, weight, height, everything, and no coaching qualifications, no coaching badges, and unemployed. So first of all, you have to beg for a job, and you'll get some like non-league job eventually, and then you're just begging the board to get coaching qualifications. It's just a grind, and then eventually, in about 5 to 10 years time, you eventually, if things go well, make it to the Premier League. So I'm gonna be adopting that on Twitch.
That's great. As soon as we get that, we'll
very niche content here.
I can imagine that being kind of comedic though. So.
Yeah, I know what I'm also doing is I'm doing like real proper English long ball, like none of that tick-a-tacker nonsense. Hit the big lad, launch it, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's my tactic. So yeah. Hopefully people will buy in on that.
So in terms of everything that you've done so far, do you have a plan of where you want to be, or are you just kind of happy at the point?
No, I mean, not a grand master plan or anything. My plan when I started doing YouTube was I thought if I enjoy it and if it goes well, I think people quite often think too short term with things, and I thought I would like to make a portion of my living from this in 5 to 10 years' time, and it's come around a bit quicker than that sort of thing. So it makes sense if people are liking your stuff and your stuff's growing. It makes sense if you just keep doing it, it will continue to grow, and in theory, you'll be able to make that more of your life if you so want to. So just keeping going, really, and doing things that I enjoy, because that's the whole point of it, isn't it? And I've deliberately kept my channel very vague and not not too nailed down in one thing, because I think you can grow a lot quicker if you are a ski video channel, or if you're a beer brewing channel sort of thing. You've got that little niche, because people will come along and they'll subscribe because they watch one of my skiing videos and then go, oh, he's taking out the bins, I'm not interested in this. Or people the other way around, I'm sure people watch the bin video and then go, I don't want to watch a half-hour long skiing video. So I think I'm doing it the sort of slow way, but hopefully building up a stronger connection with people because of it.
I think one of the ways that I kind of chimed into, I mean, obviously there was definitely an influence through Jack.
Is that how you discovered the stuff?
I think so, but then again, you know, if you're watching videos around that, like your YouTube suggestions sort of roll in, don't they? And I remember seeing, so I must have clicked on a couple of yours, then that becomes then suggested, so I'll click on. And I think I remember in the early days of just watching the content thinking, why would someone be interested in that? But I'd click on it and go, oh no, I'm quite interested in the potatoes now.
Yeah, I think some of the things, like the fact that the video, like Bin Day video's got, like, I don't know, 40, 50,000 views or something, I think people go, what? And click on it. And I find the funniest thing I find is when someone, if there's not many, but sometimes if people click like the dislike button on a video about Bin Day, I'm like, what were you expecting, mate? What did I deliver? It wasn't clickbait. Like what more were you hoping for when you clicked a thumbnail of a bloke carrying a black bin bag and went called Bin Day and you went, oh, this is going to be good.
That was actually something I was going to ask you. Is do you get many trolls, or do you
no,
think
not really. I don't care about it. I think the way to deal with online criticism is to not pay any attention to any of it, and I don't mean that in an arrogant or sort of rude way. I mean, it's really nice when people say nice things about the video, but it doesn't affect what I think of the video, if that makes sense.
The video itself.
So I would decide if I think something's good enough, or good enough, is good, and whether I want it to go out there. And there are things I've filmed and gone, I don't like that. But then after that, and after it's out there, that's sort of the end of the conversation on quality. And if people are going, the sound wasn't very good in this or something like that, then of course, I'm not saying ignore sort of feedback like that, but it doesn't, not everyone likes everything. Like, no, there's
the thing is, I suppose if you have to make a decision of, I know the sound quality is a bit bad on that, but I need to put it in the video anyway for whatever reason. You already know that, don't you? You know, as a video creator.
I mean, I will say my sound quality is always excellent. That was just an example, but but like, it's like, I think I did a video where I was talking about this once, and the example I gave on that is that my son Arlo moaned because I can't remember, was it something to do with food? It was what didn't he want? He didn't want some herbs or something in his. It was something really. Oh God, I can't remember what it was. It was something like he didn't like a particular food item, and what I was generally trying to get across was like, I mean, there's lots of people don't like Brussels sprouts. Like, I like Brussels sprouts, but just because someone else doesn't like them, it doesn't affect in any way my opinion of Brussels sprouts. Yeah. So why should someone else's opinion of, if they don't like my video, that's just their opinion. It's not correct. It's not fact. It's just what it is. But to be honest, not that many people. I don't get many negative comments or dislikes or anything, because it's quite hard to hate the videos. I think you might not like them, but you're not going to go, they're not going to make you angry or anything.
Yeah, that really tipped me off for the day.
I'm furious.
Was that video that basically at the end of it you just said, if you want to make something, just do it? Was that video?
I think so. Yeah. I can't remember. It was a while ago now.
I thought that was quite powerful. I remember watching that video and thinking, you know, if you want to just go out and make some, just do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys clearly do that and do just make things. But I mean, we've all been in a situation where we've gone, like I thought when I first saw a video, I thought, people are going to think I'm having a midlife crisis if I put out a YouTube video. But then also, I don't. You get to an age where you don't care anyway, don't you, about anything?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think a lot of people don't do things because they're worried about what other people think, and I think you overestimate how much people think about you in a nice way. I mean, apart from my very close friends, very few people pay any attention to what I do. It's not. I don't mean that they're being rude. I mean, just people don't think that much about other people.
And once you get that P. Diddy money, then people that are close to you that didn't watch them videos are going to be very interested in them videos.
Jack was saying that at his school, because after that, someone said, "Oh, what about the people at school?" I started YouTube. I did a video, and people at school made fun of me, and then Jack very nicely just replied to this random girl and just said, "People took the piss out of me for making YouTube videos every single day at school. Then one day I got a check for 60 quid from YouTube, and everyone started doing it." Like it's
yeah.
It's, you know what I mean, it's weird, and a lot of people I think the people who do take the piss out of these sort of things are people who perhaps don't have the courage to do things themselves a lot of the time.
And I agree with that. They're either very insecure themselves or just would like to have had the idea, or just are very unconfident and not able to.
Yeah, I think a lot of that online chat. There's lots of things I think are rubbish. I never go on and slag anything off because it's completely pointless. Like you never change someone's opinion, do you? Online, it's never on Twitter when someone goes, "Well, you're a dickhead," make up. Actually, yeah, no, fair point. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. But I say that as well. I wrote some comment about. I did something on Twitter. I made a comment about Tommy Robinson being racist or something I described as racist or something like that, or something like that. And some guy got really angry about this and sort of said, and called me a knob or something like that. And I said, and I was really polite back to him. I just said, okay, sorry if that's what you did. And he was like, well, at least he's sticking up for working class people. I said, yeah, no, and I replied, I said, yeah, no, I agree with you completely. I think working class people have had a very bad deal. He went, yeah, but this hasn't happened. I went, no, I agree with you completely. I said, I don't think Muslims are at fault. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you completely. And by the end of it, he started following me on Twitter, and he came to it calling me a cock or something like that. So I think just having chats and being nice to people. And I think people are a lot more similar than they sort of think, and it's easy online to people just shout and abuse each other in a way most people would never do in real life.
Exactly, you wouldn't go up to someone and say,
"Yeah."
You should turn it around in that instance. It's kind of good. I like
that. So, final thing before we let you go is...
It's not quite final, but go on.
All right, okay. Paul and I have decided to go head-to-head on YouTube.
Brilliant.
Paul versus Claire. Who can get the most views and subscribers?
Right.
Certain amount of time.
It's more challenges, though, isn't it? I guess than more than anything else.
Yeah.
I'm not too fussed of the 4 people that might subscribe to me, and one of them probably being Robbie now. So
oh yeah, I'm hooked.
So now you know both of us a little bit.
Yeah.
Who would you choose?
Oh God, I only had one. This is brutal, isn't it? This. I honestly, I'm going to have to look at the quality of your thumbnails. I'm going to have to look at the
Excellent. I like this.
Because that's
good information.
It's going to be unfair because so much of it's that it's going to be unfair if I pick someone without having a look at it. Yeah, I'll watch one video of each and then I'll make a decision.
Yeah, and I'm not rendering my services useless. I will make your thumbnails in exchange for nice. In exchange for other things. Okay.
Sounds good. Go on.
Does sound good, doesn't it? And it might be. I suppose there's 2 more questions I've got. Well,
absolutely
one's a question and one's a request. Yeah. So my first question is: would you do the looking at Bambino Becky's channel? Would you? Well, it was Kieran's, wasn't it? Would you do the Weatherspoons challenge?
Yes. Yeah, I want to. I
How
really
do you
want
think
to.
you'd fare on that?
I do all right, I think, because when I did a video with Becky when she went on a walk with me, and it was a lovely because I'd never met her before. It's the only time I met her, and with these things, you never know how it's going to go when you meet someone. I mean, I'm quite easy to get on with, but you never know how good the conversation will flow. And we filmed for a bit, and then we went and just got drunk in the afternoon, and
cool.
And it was really funny because we were both having so much fun. Every hour, one of us would just say to the other, "Go, I'm having such a nice time. This is a really nice day. I am too." And it was just a really lovely sort of day out. So yeah, I'd absolutely love to, and I think I'd do quite well because I was matching Becky drink for drink, and I was a much I think it's fair to say, a much better state than she was, as you'd expect, because I'm quite a bit bigger than her. But yeah, I think I do all right. Yeah, but yeah, I'd love to do that.
Excellent. One last thing from me, and this is more of a request than anything else. It's purely for entertainment purposes and for our viewers or listeners rather that don't particularly know you very well. Can you recount the story of where you nearly lost your testicles?
Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Right. Okay. So,
I might have to step away at a couple of points of this because it does go through me. But
fine, I'll go through as quick as I can. So basically, I woke up one morning, and I'm not a guy who goes to the doctors very regularly. Like, I have to be quite ill to go doctors. I'll just go, oh, it'll be fine, and just ignore things most of the time. I woke up one morning and I had like pain in my testicles, and it sort of felt like they were sort of twisted round, sort of thing like that. So I went straight to A&E because I'm like, this, we don't mess around here. This before I had kids. And so we went there and turned up at the hospital, and I went to in there, told them the problem, and I saw a succession of increasingly more attractive female doctors throughout the day. I went for an ultrasound at one point and all this, and the woman who was doing it, the doctor there, said, "Have you had an ultrasound before?" I said, "No. Is it the thing you give pregnant women, isn't it?" And she went, "Yeah, that's right." I said, "I don't think this is going to be a very pretty baby. Not even a smile, not even a smirk from her. Disappointing, tough crowd." They got through it. Eventually, at the end, the woman said, the final most attractive female doctor said, "What you've basically had a thing called torsion detortion. So the testicle was twisted around its cord." And it's untwisted either by you sort of adjusting it or just naturally or whatever like that. So it's stopped. It'll go back. It'll recover now. It's bruised, and that's why it still hurts. But it's back to normal now. So you're sort of all right. But so the thing is, once it's happened once, it's more than likely to happen again. And if it happens and doesn't untangle, and you don't get to a hospital within 24 hours, your testicle can die and drop off.
Oh my goodness! Even as a girl, I'm crossing my legs.
I was like, sorry, what? Like. And she said, yeah. She said, but don't worry, there's a small procedure we can do that'll stop that from happening. I went, sounds brilliant. Sign me up, no problem at all. Just out of interest, while I'm here, what is this small procedure? And she went, oh, it's just a minor. I think you pop in one afternoon, just come down, casual as anything. Just come down one afternoon. We'll just give you general anaesthetic, and then we'll sew your testicles to your scrotum. So I was like, sorry, what? You can do what? Like, if you're sewing my testicles to anything, that's massive. Never mind my own scrotum. Like, what's wrong with you guys? So, well, the alternative is your balls will die and drop off. So, all right, we'll go for it. So, it was a few weeks later, booked for the operation. On a few days before, a week before, I went for a pre-operative assessment where basically they check that you're not going to die if you have anaesthetic, essentially, is what it seems to be. So you go along and they answer a few questions. There's this guy called David who's like the pre-operative assessment nurse, and I went through everything. And he said, right, just go through a few things. So first of all, what's the procedure you're having? And I said, I don't know what the name of it is, but you're going to sew my testicles to my scrotum. And he went, yeah, I didn't think this looked right. I said, oh, what doesn't look right? He goes, oh, what it says on the screen. I said, what does it say on the screen, David? And he went, oh, it says we're gonna cut off both your testicles. I went, right, well, you're not. For a start, you're not. And he went, I'm sorry, do you mind if I make a phone call? I went, no, I'd rather this got sorted out, thank you. So make all the calls you need. So he got on the phone to some woman, and it was basically the doctor's handwriting who'd written it down. And the word that means sew testicles to your scrotum and the word that means cut off testicles are very, very similar words, like far too similar. If it was me, one would be and one would be zzz, as far away as possible on the alphabet. But she was arguing. She goes, no, it says this. She's going, no, it definitely says this. And I'm like, why are you arguing? Like, there's only going to be one person who wins. It's not like she's going to go win the argument and go, well, I guess we're cutting off your testicles. I feel there's no point in having this debate like that. So he got off the phone and said, yeah, no, sorry about that. And he said, well, yes, imagine though, if you had cut off your testicles, imagine how much money you could have sued the hospital for. So yeah, but also I'd have no testicles. So let's chalk this up as a win, David. Right. So it went on through the thing, talked about anaesthetic and all that. And he said, yep, no problem recommending for anaesthetic. Have you got any questions about next week? I said, I've just got one question. Just one thing playing on my mind. Are they going to cut off my testicles? And his honest answer, he said to me, I'd mention it on the day. I thought, what? So I got there on the day, and I went in, and you meet the anaesthetist first of all. I said, this is going to sound really weird. He goes, I know. They said they were going to cut off your testicles. It was still on the form this morning. Don't worry, I've changed it.
Wow.
Like, what? Still there? I went, yeah, I know. But it didn't make any sense because they haven't discussed fertility. They've just gone, we'll just lop off this guy's testicles. It obviously is wrong. Right? So he said, don't worry, we've changed it. But then when I went in, it wasn't like in movies where you get knocked unconscious in a bed and they wheel you into this operating theatre. You walk into the operating theatre, lie down, they knock you unconscious, and then sew your testicles, your scrotum. So I went in, and the surgeon was there, never met him before, and these other guys. I said, look, this is going to sound really weird. I said, this is going to sound really weird, but there was a mistake earlier when I came in before, and again today, saying you're going to cut off my testicles. I just need to hear you say that you're not going to cut off my testicles. And he went, yeah, no. I went, okay. I went out of the room. I said, everyone got that? Yep. And one bloke just nodded. I went, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to hear you say it. And then the first thing I did when I woke up was like just sort of touch. I know they're still there. But if I was the surgeon, I definitely, as I was going under, I definitely would have gone, right, let's cut this guy's nuts off, something like that. So yeah.
I think all I remember from, like, I think when I first heard that story, I was thinking of, do you remember the scene in Stir Crazy where Richard Pryor goes into hospital?
I don't think I've seen it. No.
We're not seeing that. And it was just a case of, I think he went into hospital to have his tonsils removed, and there's a guy in the bed next to him going, oh, yeah, he cut my nuts off. And then the anaesthetist comes over to say hello, and he's like, yeah, that's the guy that did me, and he just legs it out of the hospital.
Yeah, it's that sort of vibe, yeah. But I was, even at the time when it was all going on, I was thinking this is going to be a brilliant story one day.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing it with us.
You're welcome.
It must be painful to recount.
It's all fine now. I'm like RoboCop.
You have some lovely children as well.
Yeah, I've got 3 children now, so it's worked.
So thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up at some point again. Would love to go on a walk with you at some point if that's a possibility. And
and I want to see. I'll go to walk with whoever wins the challenge. I don't want the loser on my walk.
Oh, there we go.
It's on now. It's on.
I like this. Maybe we could walk to the loser.
What? Yeah, mock some stocks and throw rotten fruit at the loser.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot that we can go with this. Let's just see who wins, and then we'll work out what's going on.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yep, awesome stuff. Make sure there's some more bin day t-shirts coming. I've been looking.
Yeah, I need to order some more. Yeah, Joe, I'll get on that tomorrow. Just time for Christmas.
Yeah. There you go.
Brilliant.
Well, yeah, and then we can get everyone else to
to buy,
order some stuff. Awesome.
And then you can become P. Diddy.
There we go.
I'll put that. So as I mentioned, I'll put all the links to all of your socials beneath the podcast, so anyone that's listening wants to subscribe, there you go. And again, once again, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining, and thanks to all of our listeners for listening.
Cheers, Robbie.
Thanks for having me. It's been brilliant. Bye.
Housemates, thanks for tuning in. Please check out our Patreon to see how you can support us and help us to bring more guests, more stories, and even get involved yourself from just £1 a month. Visit www.patreon.com/ourhousepodcast. Link is in the description.